All right.
Okay, there we go. Well, so on this channel, last time we weren't playing a game.
We were playing.
Last time we were doing exactly what we're doing now. Which you've probably done a few episodes since then.
I have not.
We have been so slack
I've been painting like crazy.
doing this stuff.
Let me see. You got any towel over there? Here,
Yeah, I've got one I can cut in half.
my nail surface just has a t-shirt on it.
That's why I got this towel and laid it down so I could just real quickly. Yeah, we've been such slackers lately. No podcasts, very few miniatures of games in general. I did get a game in with Ross, the new guy, but that was a few weeks ago, and I've not gotten another one in because I was out of town with the ball games and visiting parents and Thanksgiving. So I thought I'd touch base with him and see what his schedule was like.
So is that Fire Slayers versus Slayer Slayers?
Actually, he was the game that we played. I was running Nurgle.
Okay.
And he was running some of Randy's Zinch. He wanted to try him out. And he's also a friend of Randy. Well, he's actually Randy's friend, but I know him through Randy. And so Randy told him in chat that I was in also that my dad can just bring some of my Zinch models up and you can try them out because we're talking about proxying. He said let him use my models.
Yeah.
So and he loved the paint job that you did on them, by the way. He said, "Oh, these look so awesome." And we actually did a team game. We played against who were the two armies?
Wait, so Nurgle and Zinch teamed up?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's some end of the world stuff right there.
Yep, and it was against Death, and the other army was what? I can't remember. Seraphim.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes, so interesting combinations.
So just good open play, huh?
Yeah.
That's good.
We kind of just threw together a list, but then we did compare what the points value was to make sure that it was close.
Yeah.
And it actually was fairly close, and we just rolled with it.
That's good.
But he had a good time playing the Zinch list, and I think Sense has picked up some Zinch models now, if I remember correctly from the messages. Of course, Ryan's going to be back in town. We were trying to get together to do a big game.
Yeah, I was going to be out of town that day. Well, I've got to leave town at like noon.
Well, and that's what I found out. See, we're picking Randy. I thought, man, that's going to be perfect timing because we go to pick Randy up at the airport on the 15th. Like late the 15th. I mean, literally, if his plane is 10 minutes late, literally 10 minutes late, it's the 16th.
Oh.
So I was like, well, that'd be perfect because, we'll drive up, we'll pick him up. I'll probably rest on the ride up, let Shannon drive, and then drive back home. We can sleep in. And then
check that angle for me because I got a feeling I'm painting way up here. I don't think I'm in.
Yeah, you are. Need to angle it up a little. That's probably got it. Let you get into your...
Right about there?
Yeah.
I got to pull up, right?
Yeah.
Probably. Is that focusing? My shirt's probably washing it out a little bit.
Yeah, it's actually getting your fingers more in focus than the model, but I think mine is too.
Probably gotta do that if I come around that way. Oh, that's not gonna point right away.
That's a little low.
Right, righty tighty. Backwards is lefty. That'll work.
But so I figured this will be perfect because we'll get back in town and Randy, who's been gone all this time, will get to play in this big game.
Yep.
Only we're not coming straight back. Understandably, my son wants to spend a little bit of time with his grandparents, so so we're gonna swing by their house because it's only an hour and a half away. We're going to stay there the weekend and come back on Sunday. So I'm not going to be in town either. So I need to touch base with Ryan, see how long he's going to be in town, and if there's another opportunity for us to get together to.
Because I'll be in Florida on the 16th and the 17th, and on the 18th I head to Atlanta for about 2 days, and then I'll be back. So hopefully that week we can do something.
But it would be nice to get a bunch of folks together again for a game. And
oh yeah, we haven't done that in a long time. But yeah, so I've been looking at paint. So as soon as I finish this Trolls project, which is coming to an end.
I don't believe it.
It really is. So tonight I'm speed painting. I've got the 2 Fell Collar Heroes, which are this exact same model. And I am just trying to I'm going to go as far as I can and paint them exactly the same way. But no, I was looking through it today. I've got maybe 30 models left total that need stuff done to them. So it's close. Plus, me and Gino went in and decided on a deadline. So December 31st, whether it's done or not, I'm quitting. And by quitting, I mean I'm turning it back over to him. He was like, yeah, let's just put a deadline on it. And I was like, I can finish it by then, and I think I will. I think some of the stuff, and some of the stuff that he gave me that was not in the original commission may not be done, but I think that he kind of added onto it at the end, and we just sort of said, all right, we'll see what happens.
That has just been an insane commission.
Yeah, it's burnt me out a couple of times. I'm not gonna lie. There's been a couple of times where I stopped painting for a month because of these little guys.
Okay, if you stop painting for, I stopped painting for a month. That's no big deal. You stop painting for a month. That's significant.
Yeah. But no, I've been trying to figure out, I was waiting to see what would happen with the Dark Angels Codex, and they released the beginning information on it because it pre-orders this weekend.
Yeah, I saw that.
And it looks like garbage. So I said, you know what?
Well, I was disappointed for another reason.
Why?
As new releases coming out in December and still nothing new for Age of Sigmar.
Yeah, it's going to be a while, I think, before we see anything really Age of Sigmar related. As far as new is concerned.
Well, spend a little less time on some of these board game type things and get us some new factions.
Yeah, I'd like to see.
Just my opinion. Get us some new old factions. Let's get the elves.
Yeah, get some. You don't even have to make models. Just go with the models that are there and release books.
New rules. Yeah.
Which I guess they figure they've done that with the General's Handbook. So at least that's what I think that they think. But
well, I am sure that there are others, but we've got a guy in our meta that
he's just an elf guy.
That is just an elf guy, and he's got elves, and he could play them, but he wants, because it's a new game, he wants new models. He wants he wants a totally new feel to his army, and I get it.
Yeah.
It's part of the reason that I was excited when they came out with Fire Slayers. And actually, shortly after the Fire Slayers came out, I pulled the trigger and sold my old dwarves. Because I was like, you know what? I like the new models. I like the new rules. And then, of course, I picked up the character and overlords.
Yeah. And then went off and made your Fire Slayers even better.
Which is why I'm painting them again. Not really. I'm painting them again because I need to finish them. And I'm so far from finishing them.
Yeah, so I've been trying to figure out, because I've actually played some 40k games with my Space Marines, just as Space Marines, and I've played a few games with them with the old Dark Angels from the Index, and I was kind of thinking, what do I want to do? And when I saw the rules release, or not the rules release, the preview of like what the chapter tactic is and that kind of thing. I was just like, all right, I'm not going to dump all this money into just building an elite force with Terminators and Ravenwing to get stomped by orcs that, you know, get 9 million attacks on the charge. That's just not what I see as being fun. So I decided I'm going to build my Eldar, and so that's going to be my 2018 project. And so I spent the last few days, maybe up to a week, kind of figuring out what craft world I wanted to play. And I decided...
I was about to say, did you decide?
I did. So the cool thing about the new book is all of the factions are kind of the same now. Like, yeah, you have Space Marine chapters, you have, you know, Eldar craft worlds, and like the craft worlds get their own rules, right? Well, the cool thing about the craft worlds is there's only 5 that are in the book that have rules. But, you know, there's tons more of the minor craft worlds. So what I figure I'm going to do is I'm going to paint them in a certain way, and then I can run them as whichever one of the 5 craft worlds to get my craft world ability is right for the opponent. So if I'm playing something where I need a bunch of troops, I can play Baltan and just take all the Dire Avengers. If I need just like elites, then I can play as Yandon and just take tons of Wraith, which is what I'm going to build initially, is just tons of Wraith. Because they look fun to paint. But the craft world that I'm actually going to paint in is going to be Mimera, which is a challenging, to say the least, paint scheme. And so I've been trying to find the right paints for it, because basically what it does is it fades from kind of like this bluish turquoise into this really nice jade or emerald green.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, pretty cool looking, but you know, it's obviously just going to be tons and tons of airbrushing to make that happen across the line. But I've been looking at paints, and I've really fallen in love with these Scale 75 paints, which is what I'm using right now to paint this flesh on this on this troll. But so I've been looking to try and find some Scale 75 that will work. I couldn't really quite find the colors that I liked that would match up to the pictures that you see, because most of the Forge World stuff is painted in Mimera's scheme. That was one of their books that they released, was to follow Mimera or something like that. And you know, so I looked around, looked for a long time, and so I started looking at War Colors, which are, from everything I've read, are really great paints, but you can't buy them from a distributor. You have to buy them directly from the company, which is in Cyprus. And I'm like, oh, it's going to take like 2 weeks to get here.
Yeah.
Which, if I'm starting in 2018, wouldn't be that big of a deal, but alas.
But you kind of like me when you order something, it's like, when's it going to get here?
Yeah, I just want to see the colors. So what I did was I ended up going with some of the Scale 75 Fantasy line, which these are the Scale 75 colors that I use right now. And they're just the regular, and this is the Ardennes green, which is a great kind of dark olive drab. And it makes this nice kind of swampy looking skin for these trolls. But their fantasy line is like their brighter colors. And so I went with turquoise. So several different bluey turquoises that they, like pretty much anything that looked bluey or turquoise I went with, and anything that looked kind of greeny. That wasn't like bright green. Mm-hmm. Or that wasn't like grade green like this one that I'm using right now. Anything that was kind of that jade sort of green that's got a bunch of yellow and white in it. I went with that. And so we'll see what happens when I get here from Scale 75, but they should be here in a few days. But
except for the Christmas shipping season, so.
Right. Yeah. They may take it. Well, they've already put them in the mail, so their part is done. Let's see what's next. Let's go do a little wrap.
Yeah, we actually got a call today. A medication that we ordered is not going to come in until basically our closing time today. We just wanted to let you know it was running late. Yeah, Christmas season is upon us.
Mm-hmm.
One vial of medicine for about $7,000, and
Ooh.
if it doesn't stay cold enough, you need to get rid of it. I'm like, well, I hope for your sake that we get it today. Because if I get it tomorrow and it's warm, I'm sending it back to you.
I'm sure it's happy with you. Yeah, so I'm pretty excited for that, to start painting my Eldar in earnest.
I guess I need to start on my Death Guard.
Yeah.
They're still in the box.
So we can get some 40K games. Maybe after the new year things will slow down. Play games.
Yeah. I don't think they're gonna slow down for me for a couple of months, honestly.
We can stop adulting for a while.
We acquired a line of business, so we're having to transition all of those patients in.
Oh no. That sounds decidedly
Yeah.
unpleasant.
And at the same time that happened, I got approval from the Alabama Board of Pharmacy to test,
Ooh.
to reciprocate my license, so I also have an Alabama license, which means that now I get to start studying for the law exam for Alabama.
That sounds not fun.
I started last night and I was like, well, cured my insomnia last night.
Oh man, those pants are
Because, the law part is decidedly not why I went into
right.
a career of pharmacy.
Right. It's like academia is not why I went into music.
Yeah.
We had final performance evaluations for the students today, and I was unaware that they had to have certain paperwork to turn in at their evaluation. So I had them turn in what I knew they needed. Told them, hey, prep, make sure you have these forms ready. When we get in there, and the department head was like, well, they're supposed to have this, this, and this. I was like, you approved my syllabus, which didn't say they needed that, so you should have known that I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But, okay, sure, it's my fault. I think it was like they had done the paperwork. It was in some of their stuff that they had turned in earlier in the semester, and they didn't have it at their evaluation. They've done the stuff, it's just they don't have it with them. So it's like, I just want to teach people how to play. Can I do that? Or do I have to do all this academia stuff? And it turns out I do have to do all the academia stuff.
Yeah, unfortunately. A lot of that documentation of which is probably just so that the school can maintain its accreditation.
That is exactly why.
Because if you don't document it, you didn't do it. One of the most absurd things I've ever had surveyors tell me is like, no, that doesn't mean I didn't do it. It means I can't prove to you I did it.
Exactly.
But that doesn't mean I didn't do it.
Yeah, so I have another semester down and in the books with teaching, which is good. And they renewed my temporary contract, so I'm teaching in the spring again.
That's good.
So
Always good to get a contract renewed.
yeah.
I guess I shouldn't say it's always good. It's usually good.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes you may not want it.
Yeah. Well, I wish I had more games to talk about that I've played, but I just have not had time to play.
No, it is that time of year where I have to schedule painting time. And so if I'm scheduling painting time and not just painting on my own accord, then I know that any other hobby-related time isn't going to happen.
Yeah.
Although, did you see the big community survey on?
Yeah, I took it.
I did too.
I took it just to get feedback, not because of any chance to win a $50.
Right. Hey, $50. That'll buy me a Hemlock Wraith Fighter. So.
Yeah.
Or another box of Wraith Guard. I'll take it.
I was like, okay, the survey's not that long, but listen, no offense, GW, but my time at work is expensive.
Yeah.
My time when I'm off is like really expensive. So the $50 didn't mean anything. Yeah, don't get me wrong. If I got it, I'm not gonna turn it down.
Yeah, I'm not gonna sit back.
But I was like, I'll do it. Just give them feedback on the product because it's important, and I care enough about the hobby to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole time I'm doing it, I was like, I could be doing some painting. I could be putting some models together. I'm taking the time to do this survey in a time of year when I don't have time to do the hobby stuff.
Yeah.
Of course, I guess in defense of that, though, I was doing it in a place because I was on my iPad where I couldn't have been doing hobby anyway. So,
right.
When I was driving. I'm just kidding. Do not take surveys and drive, listeners, viewers. Too used to the podcast part, not the video.
Yeah, all right. No, I've recorded a couple of videos. I just haven't had a chance to get them edited and put up yet. I did a review of the Dice of Rolling that we got.
Yeah, I like those.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty decent little investment. Good company. They got everything out within a month of what they said they would, which is pretty good for Kickstarter.
Pretty good for a Kickstarter. Yep.
They had set an October delivery day, and we got them in November. So, can't complain there. Good dice.
A better quality dice than I thought they were going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was not disappointed at all. Give them a thumbs up on that. And the color coding for the die types is fabulous.
The neatest thing.
Yep. Such a brilliant, simple idea.
Yep. Which probably drives like the really OCD people that like to have their dice sets a little nuts, but.
Well, except this is a set.
Yeah, it is. In and of itself, it is.
That's
its own
right.
set, yeah.
So relax your OCD. You have a set.
It's a bunch of different colors.
They're intentionally designed to have different colors.
You didn't just lose your red D20.
Right.
Writing a Christmas one-shot for my guys at work to play using Cypher.
You gonna kill them all again?
No, well, maybe. I mean, it's just a one-shot, so we could. It'd be fun. No, man, that's the worst, man. Killing your party sucks when you're. I really didn't think it was
Tell
gonna.
Tell me. I know.
I didn't think it was gonna make me be like, oh man, I feel bad right now.
I had to come up with some rather creative stuff in the last campaign that I ran when the party was faced with insurmountable odds and made it obvious these are insurmountable odds. In fact, a dragon that was about as close to an ally as you're going to have from a dragon tells the party that what they need to do is too important, so leave and I will hold them off as long as I can.
Mm-hmm.
The dragon said it would hold them off as long as it could.
And they still went in and fought.
And the party stayed to fight to help the dragon.
Oh yeah, that's TPK. Okay.
Yeah.
You made a bad decision in life.
And I hope they don't watch this. It's unlikely they will. I had to fudge a die roll against the stealth that the ranger made while invisible, because basically I got to the point to where it was like all the rest of the party was down. It was just the ranger, and she was like, I cast invisibility and hide. And they actually would have found her.
Ooh.
And I was like, okay, they walk within about 6 inches of you and keep going. And so then she went and collected the rest of the party's dead bodies.
Yeah.
And took them all to where they were supposed to be going in the first place. They haven't raised. And I was like, that could have been end of campaign. Congratulations, Tiamat wins.
Yeah. That was kind of how I felt in mine when they wiped. I was like, well, and the sad thing was they didn't even wipe on like the big bad guy that's been antagonizing them for 6 months. They wiped on one of his little lackeys.
Yeah, I don't worry so much if they wipe fighting the big boss of the campaign.
Yeah.
That's not. That's just, you know what? Sometimes heroes die.
Yeah.
And sometimes the good guys lose.
Yeah, it was just one of those.
If they didn't, you'd never have the Vecnas of the world.
Yep. But it was one of those ones, we had one guy in the party that, was constantly getting up from the table to go smoke and do things like that. And, he had said, don't do what you're going to do. And while he was up from the table, they decided to do what he said not to do. And when he came back to the table, they were in combat. He's like, so did we rest? And they were like, nope. He's like, oh my god.
Yeah, good lesson.
Yeah. A couple of new players at the table. The guy who was constantly getting up was not the new player.
That's why you should have been there.
Yeah, I kind of told him that. I was like, you go to the veterans at the table, you probably should be there to make sure they don't do stupid crap. He's like, yeah, you're probably right. Thanks, I'm probably to it.
Make sure they don't do stupid crap that's going to get your character killed.
Yeah. Especially since his character was the one that had the big, crazy blood vendetta. He was the character that had died earlier in the campaign. He had the cursed panpipes and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he had died early in the campaign, and we had moved his soul into a werewolf. Just so that he could finish out that part of the campaign. And then he killed the werewolf body too.
This is a veteran player?
Yeah.
He sounds like a buddy of mine that, like, almost every character he makes dies. I think mostly because he gets bored with playing the same class.
No, I don't think that was the case on this one. He was playing the character very much along the backstory and everything that he had written. And sometimes, arrogance causes you to die. His character was highly arrogant and died.
At least you roleplayed it that way.
Yeah. And also another party member didn't save him when she had an opportunity to. So, when he was being attacked in his sleep.
Gotta love that.
Yeah. You just kind of watched that happen.
I won't forget. One time I was running campaign up at Wizard's Keep, Doug's store, when he had it, and started running up there just to try to kind of build interest in the game, and not necessarily my game, but the game overall,
right,
in the community. Well, and sure enough, several new players wanted to try it out, and I was like, yeah, sure, we'll get some characters for you. So we did that, and I'll forget the first session. And so they're going along, and one of the party members got hit a few times, and they got into another combat, and he went down. And it's like, so he's down? And it's like, Yeah, he's like dying. He's on the ground. He's dying, and they're like, "All right, so the rest of us are all closer to winning." And I'm like, no, this is a cooperative game.
Exactly.
And they just looked at me like, what? And I realized I've got to go back to square one. You guys are trying to work together. You're all allies.
You're a team.
Help each other. They're like, oh, I thought if they died before me, I would win. But not that kind of game.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, not so much. That's kind of funny, though.
And then once they had that concept, I mean, they were actually a fabulous little group and party together. They did it really good.
I'll tell you, I'm looking forward to painting Eldar. You know why? Because they don't have leather straps. They don't have any leather. None. They're all bones.
A little bit tired of leather, are you?
I've painted 1 or 10 million leather straps and buckles in the last year. Now I have one unit that has just been sitting on my table. Like, they're on pill bottles, ready to be gone. They're primed. They've been sprayed, you know, with base color. I just haven't gone any further on them because they got so much leather on their armor. I'm just like, oh, I'll go grab something else out of the box and do it instead. So it's probably going to come down to like the last day. I'm going to be like, all right, I finally got to paint these guys. Because I've already painted one unit of them like a year ago.
Sounds like something I would do. I'm dreading these. I'm going to put them off to the very end.
I mean, I figure as long as I get something else, as long as I'm getting something done, then it's good. One of my other units that had fallen into that category, I did get another 5-man unit of it done last week.
I need another tournament to really like force my hand with painting.
We could do what Mini War Game is doing with Path to Glory right now. Unit a day.
Gee, no, I can't do that.
I mean, I guess it's when it's your 8-hour job.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing the 40K. They're all each doing a different Chaos God. And yeah, basically they play it like they did the first one. Got their initial warband, painted it up, played the first games the next day, and then did their advancements, got their new units, painted them that evening.
Also, a little bit easier to do that when you're getting the models at wholesale.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing was, on the first episode, they had, you know, giant shipping boxes. And they're like, most people go out, you know, you buy your stuff every couple of weeks, you know, you buy your new units. And they're like, not us. And they just started dumping the boxes on the table. And it was just piles of Games Workshop Chaos 40K miniatures. They're like, all right, roll up what you get. Just take it out of the pile. Like, if you roll something and it's no longer there, you got to re-roll it. You can't have it.
Yeah, that's kind of insane.
That must be nice. Have you seen their plans for their mini wargaming bunker that they're building?
Uh-huh.
So they have purchased a new building in wherever they are in Canada. And
they're in the cold in Canada is where they are.
well, I mean, it's Canada. I think they're near Niagara, which is
that was my point.
Probably the least cold. The least cold you could be. But it's this huge building that has like an upstairs and a huge basement. But basically, I mean, they did a walkthrough. Dave did a walkthrough of it. I was like, you're just like, how? Like, they must make so much money. I don't know where they're getting. I mean, they got an investor, they said, that's helping them with this. But I mean, you know, the renovations they're going to do in this building, it's going to be millions of dollars in renovations. I'm like, I'm glad you guys can afford that, because I enjoy your content. But
yeah, I definitely think they're making money. But
Oh yeah.
I don't know that they're necessarily making that much.
I don't know how many vault members they have, but you figure your average vault member is probably a silver vault member, $10 a month.
Yeah.
If you're not buying, that's how I pay for mine, is monthly.
But yeah, but it's gonna have basically like
A mini wargaming hotel on the upper floor that has like, beds and
showers, so that when you go to play there, you don't have to worry about getting a hotel. You can just rent a room in the mini wargaming bunker.
So they're going to open it up for people to just come and do that?
I mean, that's what they already. I mean, as far as with the challenges and everything, they constantly have people in there playing. So
That's what their goal is to I think you're probably gonna, from the way they were talking about, you're gonna have to pay, to
Well, that's what I
to
would
stay
figure.
there. But
Yeah.
I mean, still you're gonna pay for a hotel, so you might as well pay to stay there. So you just crash right there where you're playing. But yeah, it's got a huge downstairs big tournament room. They said it's gonna have 40 tables.
Wow.
Yeah. All the studios and everything where they record the bat reps are all downstairs. They're gonna have 2 new studios built, so they have 6 studios total instead of 4. I was like, definitely making me want to go visit and play up there even more. Cool stuff.
Yeah, in the summer.
Yeah. I don't know, I like the cold.
I like cold too, but I don't like that much cold.
No, I'm the go camping when it's 20 degrees outside kind of guy.
I used to be. Age 50 about took care of that. Blood gets thinner.
That is what I've heard.
I was the guy that would go jogging in shorts and a t-shirt in 30-degree weather.
Oh man, when I was running, it didn't matter what temperature. I never ran in anything more than shorts and a t-shirt.
Yeah. That's what I told people. After the first mile, you're fine.
Yeah. I mean, right now, I'll be 20 degrees outside, and I'll have on a fleece and a pair of pants, but I'm still wearing my chacos if I'm not going to work. If I don't have to wear shoes, I don't.
But I can't do it anymore. I just get cold. Oh my gosh, God's got such a sense of humor. When I was in my 20s, and I was hot all the time, I wanted the air turned down. My wife, young female, she was cold.
Right. Tides have turned.
Yep. Now, I get cold. She's going through the change. She gets hot. But tell me God doesn't have a sense of humor. I'll fix them. Because my wife is kind of funny about it. She'll say, my inner child's playing with matches again. Starts fanning herself.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how can you possibly be hot? It's like 63 degrees in here.
I need to reference the pictures.
Oh, I can tell it's been a long time since. I mean, I'm not worried about. This is just a primary coat, so I'm not really worried about hitting other areas or anything. But just the aspect of I've not even been painting that long, and already I'm getting tired. I'm like, oh, it's been so long since I painted.
Let's see, these guys are solos. Let's see if those are trousers. But they are trousers. But no, those War Colors paints, their system is sort of like Reapers. Except they have 5 colors through the, like, you know, in blue. Oh, shit, go XV88.
Oh, gotta check this. Amazon is loving my wife right now.
Is that where all the Christmas shopping's being done?
Yeah. Yeah, I think every day I get home from work, we've got another 5-6 packages that have arrived.
Yeah, I was saying about the War Colors, they have, so you know, like the Reaper has the triads.
Mm-hmm.
So they have 5 in their group.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And it goes from, and the naming is the simplest thing you can imagine. Like if you're doing blue, it goes from blue 1 to blue 5. Blue 1's the super light one, blue 5's the super dark one. And they're graded in between. And then they have a transparent version of each color. Or like a transparent blue, a transparent green, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
They have black and white, of course. The reviews on the metallics haven't been so good, but they do have metallics as well.
I don't really like using metallics, though. I mean, I do for the areas that I have to, but
Right.
I've never really liked using metallics.
Yeah, if I could take the time to do non-metallic metal and everything, I would.
Oh, well, I'm not doing that. I'm going to use the metallics. I just don't like them.
But
I mean, you know me. I'm not going to spend the time to...
right, yeah. The cool thing about them, though, is they use a gel medium as opposed to a liquid medium.
Mm-hmm.
So they tend to stay wetter longer from
Oh, that's
everything that
kinda
I've
cool.
seen. And they, so it makes like blending, like wet blending on the model really easy from what I've seen. So it really makes me want to try them out.
They have inks and washes also.
They do have inks. They don't have washes.
The inks is fine with me.
But
I'm
yeah,
not
I mean,
that
you
picky.
can put a little flow aid in ink and Turn right into a wash. But the other thing too is like the way that I'm starting to paint and that I really am enjoying painting is with the zenithal highlighting. And for the most part, they look like they are anywhere from mostly translucent to a little bit translucent. They're not really opaque, so you're not going to put down like one solid base color and have a solid base coat, which is kind of the way that I'm really starting to enjoy painting.
Well, I may have to try those out.
Because I really like doing the zenithal highlight with my airbrush, and then you put a regular paint that's pretty opaque over that, you lose all that
right.
shading and highlighting that the zenithal gave you. But apparently with these, I was watching Vince Venturella, he'd done a zenithal, and then he was putting his putting like one of the purples over a cloak or something. I mean, all the gentle highlighting was showing through like really, really well. So yeah, and the other thing that's great about them too, they're pretty inexpensive for a 15 milliliter dropper bottle, which is more than a GW paint in terms of volume.
Yeah, I like the dropper bottles.
Yeah, I love dropper bottles too. They're about $2.
Oh wow.
Yeah. The sets of 6 or the sets of 5 are like 10 and change. To get like the 1 through 5 of a color. So I was like, that's...
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check into that.
And he does flat rate shipping, which says it's 5 to 15 day on the website, and his flat rate shipping is like $6. So I was like, these could be something interesting to try.
What's the name of them again?
Warcolors.
Warcolors.
With a U. The English spelling of colors.
So they in England?
The Cyprus.
That's right, you said that. Yep.
But the guy that started the company is a miniature gamer, according to the bio and everything. But he's like professionally, he's a paint chemist. So.
Oh, there you go.
He decided to make his own line of.
I'm fed up with this. I'll design my own.
Yep. You guys can't make them right. I'll show you how it's done.
I'll have to pick up some of those next year and try them out.
But yeah, that's my plan. If I'm not real happy with the scale 75 colors for my Eldar, then I'm going to go with the Warcolors, because between the marine, which is sort of your aqua blue or your lighter blues, the turquoise and the emerald lines, those sets of 5, I think I could hit my Mimera color scheme perfectly.
I have to finish my Fire Slayers first because I don't want to mess up my color scheme.
Yeah. Yeah, you can get them to do your overlords with.
Yeah.
And these little stones with the troll runes in them. I don't ever want to paint those again ever.
Yeah, I imagine not.
Although I figured out a really easy way to paint them here lately. Like I just slapped a Xandri dust on there to get the brownish beige stone color, and then I watered down whatever blue color I want to put as the glowing color of the rune. I water it down like into a wash, and then just pop it on there on my brush, let it sit for about 10 seconds, and then take a clean brush and just soak up all the excess, and it just sits down in the recess.
Sounds like the way to do it.
Yeah. Take it a lot easier than trying to get down in there with a brush and trace it in perfectly. And the cool thing is the little bit of paint that gets left that doesn't get wicked away makes a nice looking little glow. And you look at it the next day and you're like, oh man, how did I do that? That glow is perfect. It's like, oh yeah.
It was easy.
I used the natural properties of viscosity.
I forgot it was easy.
Science.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to. It's either going to be my anniversary. Kind of hoping for that because that's this coming Sunday, or Christmas. I was supposed to get a flat screen TV for the room that my wife moved my painting stuff into.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so then at that point, I can hook up something to stream, gaming something, and have that playing on TV and just sit in there and either put models together or paint.
Nice. That'd be great.
So, or work on a campaign,
Right. I can't have the TV on when I'm working on my campaigns. It's distracting.
I've been enjoying the campaign cartographer also.
Oh yeah, how's that
I've been
working
kind
out?
of fiddling around with it.
Yeah, the first little trials that you did looked really neat.
And I don't
Is it
even
pretty
know
easy to do?
Yeah, because I don't even know what I'm doing yet.
Yeah.
Is the thing. So it's like okay, I don't even understand all the aspects of the software, and I'm already able to do this.
That's cool.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I think that one thing that I'm gonna do is make just one big map for us to use for a map based path to glory type campaign.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, I can do that because you can put hex grids on it and people can just claim the grids. And
Oh cool, yeah. Should do like a territory game?
yeah,
That'd be fun.
I was thinking that could be a whole lot of fun, and it's easy enough to change stuff. Somebody you put a little something in it that's color coded for them, and if somebody takes it from them, you just change the color code on it.
That's cool. Can you put can you make custom images to go in it? So you could do symbols and stuff?
You can, people do.
Okay.
I don't know how to do that. At
I
least
wonder if it's
don't
just
yet.
I wonder if you probably just make the symbols in Photoshop or Illustrator.
Yeah,
And you could probably just
I'm
import
pretty sure
them.
that's it. But yeah, it's, like I said, I don't even know. Heck, I don't even know half the stuff that it can do itself
Right.
at this point. I mean, it literally is a massive bit of software.
That's cool.
And they use what they call sheets, but it's basically layering.
Uh-huh.
So, for example, I was working on an area and I put the mountains in. And I was like, oh, I want a desert on the other side of these mountains. So I did out the area for the desert, which of course, then it's over the mountains.
Right.
But because the mountains are naturally, as part of a terrain symbol, the land contour, which is what the desert is automatically set up to be lower.
Mhm.
So you just hit that little refresh button and boom,
Oh, it just drops below.
and the mountains are on top.
That's nice.
And it automatically kicks in whatever fade or glow that you've applied to the zone. So it kind of basically makes the desert area not only drop below the mountains, but also the fade takes effect. So it's like the mountains are leading into
Oh, cool.
the desert area.
That's
And the
nice.
desert's getting, thicker and stronger as you move away from the mountains.
So yeah, it's just doing a lot of the shading and stuff. Where
Yep.
That's nice.
Precisely.
That's what software should do.
Should take the tedious work and make it simple.
So I figured, okay, I don't have any excuses anymore because my whole excuse for not doing my own homebrew was, I just never can find a map
Right.
that's going to work for what I want. Well, now I don't have the excuse. I can make the map.
You just make it. Yep.
Yeah, that little map that I posted up that I did, which was actually part of a larger scale.
Mm-hmm.
And you can set the scale for whatever you want, but the scale that one was set in was the full thing was 1,000 miles by 800 miles.
Oh wow.
And that little map area that I did was probably about 300 by 100, maybe 150.
Oh wow. Okay.
So
It's got some span on it.
yeah,
That's cool.
and it does a pretty decent job. It's not always quite right, but it does a pretty decent job of scaling the terrain symbols down to the right size
Mm-hmm.
for what you're working on, whether you're zoomed in or not. I've had to make a few kind of minor adjustments.
Right.
But for the most part, that's pretty close to right. And it's easy to make the adjustment. You just right click and change the aspect of it.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that'd be neat to see what kind of things you can come up with for it.
Yeah, that was the first one. That was the first one that I worked on, and I think that I spent a total of about 2 hours, and a lot of that was learning. Okay, how do I get to
just kind of
where I do this? Yeah.
And I ordered a new bottle of Thrash as well. This is the best metallic paint I've ever used in my entire life.
Is that the particular color or the brand?
The Scale 75, Scale color.
Okay.
And the color is Thrash Metal. So not only does it have a great name.
Thrash metal.
Yep. All of the silver metallics are named after genres of heavy metal. There's heavy metal, there's speed metal, there's thrash metal, there's black metal. Which makes it kind of hard to know what they do. But, except for black metal, that one's pretty obvious.
It's black metallic.
I love a good black metallic.
The thrash metal is basically your equivalent of just your pewter or silver. And it goes on so smooth. You don't have to water it down at all.
That's the thing I hate about metallics.
They don't water well.
They don't water well and they don't tend to go on smooth.
Yeah, well.
Could be because they've got all these little particles in them.
Flakes of metal in them?
Yeah.
That's obviously not the reason.
Could not be at all.
Yeah, I mean, like, look at that chest plate.
Yeah, that's nice.
That looks like a gray paint that
Yep.
shines.
Yep.
Like his swords. Like, look at his blades.
Yeah. It really shows on those.
It's stupid how smooth it is. I'm telling you. All those Scale 75, man, they're great.
The standard colors dry so matte. Like, I almost want to put, anytime I use them, I want to put varnish, like a satin varnish on it at least, because they're so matte.
I'm like, ugh, I could probably stand with that shining a little bit. Let's make this boom snake color too. But basically, the week before Christmas and the week after Christmas, I'm gonna be a professional painter for 2 weeks.
Oh, really?
I'm gonna get up in the morning. I'm gonna have coffee, and I'm gonna paint like it's a job instead of like it's a hobby, which is something that I've wanted to do for years.
Doug, I don't think I could do that. I enjoy it, but I don't love it,
Mm-hmm.
and so I don't think I could do that.
Well, I mean, I think I'm gonna have an extra motivation of finishing this project, but
Well, true.
for that to happen. But at the same time,
I think it should be an enjoyable time, you know?
just painting figs, listening to music and podcasts and things like that, drinking coffee. Did that get much better?
And I'm so ready for Critical Role to get a new campaign going.
Oh my goodness, let me tell you. Have you watched the new one that came out on Monday?
No.
They did
I haven't watched it yet, but they did a one-shot that was sponsored by Blizzard to promote the new Hearthstone expansion,
Mm-hmm.
and I can only imagine it would be hilarious. But Mercer's finally back in the DM chair, which, as much as I love the one-shots, I've been really waiting for Mercer to be back in the chair.
Yeah. Someday I'll be half as good as him. Maybe, if I'm lucky.
I'll be a tenth as good as him if I'm lucky. I was really surprised that you guys were super into the vampire game.
I thought it was awesome. I thought it was really awesome. And especially the way you did the personality things.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, that was just amazing.
Oh, that was a. I don't feel like making up backgrounds and then hoping that they, So I was like, I'll give them a word and let them do whatever they want.
Yeah, I love one word. This is your personality for your background. One word. It's
Run
like,
with it. Be what you want.
wow. And the way it worked out
was
like just
hilarious.
two murderous fiends.
Yeah.
And one who's like, I get it. I'm not saying that we don't need to kill these people. I'm just saying we have to watch out for the overall effect on the entire coven.
Yeah.
But I think you were the only one that wasn't murderously crazy.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure that Seth, Tila, and Eric's characters were all...
Eric got there.
Yeah. It took him a second to realize because he's normally a cleric.
Yeah.
And it took him a second to realize, oh wait, I can just kill
be
everything?
evil.
And like, from the word go, Tila was...
Oh yeah, she just like, boom. Yeah, and I think I was the oldest.
She was.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
You were both very close, though.
We were close, though.
Get underwater.
Although I did enjoy scaring that poor peasant to death.
That was hilarious. When vicious mockery kills somebody. So yeah, I hadn't really planned on doing anything with the game that I run until everyone was like, yeah, I can play on Sunday. And I was like, okay, I guess I can prep for that.
My problem is I ran into exactly what I knew I was going to run into.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to have enough prep time
Right.
for a while. I'm going to try to, and I think I should be able to this weekend, try to prep enough so that I can maybe get at least one session in while the kids are in town for the break.
Right.
But I don't even know that I'm going to be able to do that. I'll just have to see.
Yeah, because in my game we're off to your homeland,
Yeah.
or at least that's what I assume you're gonna do.
Well, probably could check things out anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, you got your free train ride. You might as well.
Yeah.
What color do we need?
It could be interesting, that's for sure.
Oh yeah. I think it certainly will be. The question will be, how close do you actually get to town before I stop you? Yeah. Before the train breaks down.
Yeah.
No, I plan on getting y'all all the way there, don't worry about it. Gold. I know I brought gold. Maybe I didn't bring gold.
I'm sure I have a gold somewhere, but it's probably not the right shade.
I don't care.
see if I have one?
No, I'll do everything else. Not that it really, the shade doesn't matter. I'll put so much junk over it.
I get it.
I just use, for most of the golds, I just use old Balthazar gold. GW, I don't use anything fancy for gold.
Yeah, but you're better at making those adjustments than I am.
No, the thing that I learned, I don't remember who I learned this from. I think it might have been Chris from Anywhere Gaming. But using purple to shade your gold gives you that old gold kind of antique feeling. Or if you want that like burnished hammered gold look, use Raglan Flesh Shade to shade it. Keeps it nice and warm, red looking. Looks awesome. And that's what I've been doing on all these trolls, is using the purple wash. So all the gold kind of looks like old antique brass.
I am just about to hit my goal of what I wanted to get painted tonight.
So I finish these weapon handles. That'll be all I got to do is gold. So I think if I had just done one of these guys, I think I could have speed painted through one of them completely in this session. That was my goal.
I wanted to try to get 10 more of these guys. Their initial flesh color on them. They're shadowed 10. Just about got them. It's actually just about the worst part of painting them.
Oh yeah, block it in the big colors I hate. It's not my favorite part for sure.
That's why I don't worry about getting all of the edges precise. Because I'm going to be going back over all of those areas 2 and 3 more times. Yeah. So let me just get this big area blocked, and then I can worry about getting the details with the next couple of layers.
Yeah, on a few of these trolls I've tried doing the paint one thing to completion. I just don't like that method. It doesn't really jive with me. Like, you know, paint all the skin and then shade it and then highlight it and then do all the leather and then do all the metal. I like getting it all blocked in and then going from there.
Yeah. That's actually what I'm trying with these guys, because I usually will do exactly what you said to start with. I'll like, okay, all their skin. That's all right. That's done. Now I'm gonna move on to their hair, you know, their beard and their crest, and get that done. And now I can move on to their leather. I'm trying to do the same thing, get all of the base done, and then basically just work up from there.
Well, for me, it just depends on how big that area is. Like, when I've been doing the beasts for these trolls, I'll do the skin all the way, because they're mostly skin, and then I'll do all the little details. You know, the tabards and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But like on a guy like this that's got weapons and armor and a, you know, a tabard and a kilt, and I just, you know, if I messed up that nice paint job that I spent all that time doing, I had to go back and re-highlight, I'd be so ticked off, for lack of a better word. That
I've just done so many of them that otherwise, like, well, you know, I'm gonna try these.
Right.
You know, about 20 this way and just see.
Well, I think it works on, you know, the fire slaves, because they do have a lot of flesh showing, you know.
Yeah.
So I would consider doing them that way as well. It's like on my Sylvaneth. I do all the white first. I do all the bark first, and then I go back and I get the bark completely done before I start touching everything else up. But that's also because it's a bunch of dry brushing too. Like it's a ton of dry brushing.
I just mainly want to try it and see if it seems to be any faster or easier because I've not ever done it that way.
Right.
I'm like, well,
I know that when I've tried
and you
it,
hear people on various podcasts and video channels that talk about doing it this way or that way. I'm like, it's not hard for me to try it a different way.
Yeah, it's the way that Games Workshop is espousing you do it now with Duncan. He paints. He usually doesn't block the entire model in. If you watch the videos that they do. Although it's been a long time since I was a just do what Duncan says kind of guy.
I love what Duncan says, and I think it's very good information. But it's not, the God's honest truth, in my opinion.
Well, there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Oh yeah. No, that's not to say that I don't use Duncan's advice quite often. Because a lot of it is very, very good. Some of it just doesn't jive with the way I paint.
Which that was the funny part when I was trying to figure out my paints for my Eldar. One of their tips of the day is painting my Mara. And I was like, all right, well, let's see how they do it with GW paints. And it was his little technique that he does with the paint it all the turquoise color and then take the green glaze and pull the green glaze up to, just short of where you want the transition to begin.
Mm-hmm.
And then void your brush and gently pull the glaze over, which is kind of how I did the red tendrils on my, what's that?
Tree Lord?
Tree Lord, yeah. It's a similar technique, and I was like, no, that's not how I'm going to do this. It's like, I'm just not doing it that way. I'll do something else.
Plus, I really want to do it mostly with airbrush, so that's kind of my goal. Is to do a bunch of airbrushing. Let's go ahead.
How much you got left on that one? See if I want to start my next step.
His face, which is virtually nothing, about half of his torso, and his hands.
Gotta give me time to put down these runes.
Yeah, I was trying to think back over, because we hadn't done the podcast in a while and was, end of the year, I was trying to think back over, okay, so what would I do for my top, 3 things this year? I'm like, I couldn't really think of that much stuff with AOS for this year.
For AOS, they released a new starter box.
It was,
you had the Kharadron Overlords and you had Zinch.
Mm-hmm.
And General's Handbook 2017, but that's about it.
Yeah. And I think all 3 of those things are tops over the new starter set. Seeing as it still had Stormcast in it.
Yep.
And for the most part, the Chaos models, other than the one character, were just recycles.
Which is what has brought me to my primary disappointment with Games Workshop and Age of Sigmar for this year. Come on. I understand why. They had the big release of
40K.
40K.
Yeah.
I get it. And I don't mind, I've said it before, I don't mind this edition of 40K. I'll play it some. It's not going to be my go-to game.
It's super fun. Right now it's my go-to game because I've said this before, I really like sci-fi.
Yeah.
I like fantasy. But I think you and I probably split that difference. You like sci-fi the way I like fantasy, and I like fantasy the way you like sci-fi, kind of thing.
Yeah, fantasy's always been my go-to genre.
I like, this is the weird thing for me, I like reading fantasy more. I don't really enjoy reading sci-fi, to be honest. But I enjoy playing and watching fantasy or sci-fi. Speaking of reading fantasy, I read The Name of the Wind in like 3 days.
Awesome, isn't it?
Oh my god, that book is good!
Well, now you have to get a Wise Man's Fear.
Yeah, no, the only reason I have it is because I'm like, if I buy it, that's 3 days worth of painting that I don't get to do. Because literally, I mean, I read that.
Yeah,
cover
I did
cover.
the same thing. I just did nothing but read it.
I just didn't want to put it down.
And it goes in so opposite the direction that you expect at the beginning.
Oh yeah.
Because, oh yeah, here they go. They're gonna get this guy who's some famous dude and go off on this adventure, and no.
Nope, not at all. I'm gonna tell you a story. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it though. I'm still not quite sure how to say the main character's name. I think it's Quoth or Quoth.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
From the what it says in the book, he does when he's telling the story
Say it's roughly pronounced like Quoth, like Quoth the Raven.
Yeah.
But roughly pronounced like.
Yeah.
I always read it as Kavoth, the way it's written, so that's still how I read it in my head.
But oh man, he is such a cool character.
Yes, he is.
And he's kind of an
And he still hasn't published the third book.
Yeah, I mean, it's about time for it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because the first one was 10 years ago now.
He did publish. I can't remember the name of it. I'm gonna have to look it up because I can't remember the name of it. Basically, it's the story of the girl that he meets below. You may not have gotten to that part yet.
Below the university?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I couldn't remember if that was the first book.
I can't remember. Ari? No, that's not her. I can't remember her name. But yeah. Oh, of how she got down there?
Basically, it's her story.
That would be cool.
I think so. It's a shorter book.
But yeah, I went into Books A Million one day. I was eating lunch over on that side of town, and I went into Books A Million because I was going to buy. It was the day Oathbringer came out, and I was like, oh, I forgot to pre-order it on Amazon, so let me go see how much it is. And it was like $40 at Books A Million. And Amazon had just sent me an email, hey, you can pre-order this for $13 right now. And I was like, yeah, I'm not paying $40 when I can order it on Amazon to get it shipped here for free in 2 days. But I still haven't done that because I know that will be another, I won't do anything except read for 5 days. Which if you've never read any of that Stormlight series, very, very good and super in-depth. And good at remembering who all the characters are. Alright, well, you want to stop it there?
Yeah, we can stop it there. I was trying to find the name of